Good morning. My name is Roger Shaw, and I really want to express my appreciation for your interest in this technology. It's pretty cool that we're able to hear directly from the head developer of it. And I just want you to know that he has probably about 20 years experience helping serve manufacturers in the woodworking industry. So Jonathan I'll be passing it over to him to kind of go through what we have now, what we're going to go to, and then we'll field some questions. Again, thank you very much for your time, and I'm going to turn it over to Jonathan now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much, Roger, for the introduction. My name is Jonathan. I'm representing today WebCab. So the key today, and I would like also to thank Roger for giving us the opportunity to talk there. The key today would be to go over a little bit of a presentation for you guys, for some of you guys that are not actual production coach customer or didn't really hear about it, to see a little bit what's the function, what can happen with the system, what can be do. And for some of you that are actually customers, you can see new stuff coming in with the new version 20 that's available, also to see what can be done, and also refreshing a little bit of maybe functionality or things that are maybe not used today in your day-to-day business that can help you in your work as things are going by there. So to start up a little bit the presentation, I'm just going to load it up right here. And if for any reason you don't hear me right or you have a question, like Roger said, just point it out so we can go over these questions. So a little startup right now, just for our presentation. I'm just going to go through a little bit about who is WebCab. Why I'm going through that is just to talk and experience a little bit of where we come from, or how the product came along and where everything started towards that. So what's important to understand is that we have more than 18 years of experience in the woodworking industry. And why is that? Is that when we started our business, while we started being resellers of CAD/CAM product, we were working actually with RSA in the past of reselling product, CAD/CAM product in our industry. For some of you that doesn't not really know what is a CAD/CAM product, just to be clarified, because we're going to use that term along the way, a CAD/CAM product is what we call like these Microvellum, Cabinet Vision, Wood CAD/CAM, IX, or system that you're engineering your project into that system to send down the programs into the machine. So by the fact, we started by being resellers of these products, and we did a lot of customers that we had in our area. What was happening with the time is that customer has started to have specific needs and specific things that they wanted to resolve into their day-to-day situation. So we started looking around, trying to find stuff that could resolve through the woodworking industry. And there was nothing really that was created at that time that really was specified for the woodworking industry. Everything was pretty much generic that we try to adapt or modify, or didn't really resolve all the issue that the people had. So this is where we started developing our own tools, developing Production Coach as you're seeing it today. So we started doing this. And the way we were selling is, you were a customer, I got something to help you, and that's how it goes. Couple of years passed, well, we met back with Sean and Roger and realized that this product could help a lot more people in the industry. And this is where we started really to resell Production Coach in the United States and talk about it. And this is where the brand came in of having a tool that can help a lot more people in that industry. And what's really important to understand with the product we're showing you today is how it's developed. 60% of the product you're seeing, how it's being developed, it comes from the industry needs. So we're there to listen to your needs, listen to your issue, and put it into the system to really help you in your day-to-day business to grow. And 40% of our development comes in from new technology, innovation aspect that can come out from other industry that can help our industry, or when we're talking about technology that could be RFID technology, LED lights, or that kind of stuff to help the user in their day-to-day flow. Now, what's really important with Production Coach, the way we want it to develop is, yes, it's a system to help you track. I agree. There's a lot of data or information coming out of that system. I agree also. But the way we want it to do, it's not just collecting data, but also creating tools and screens that will help your workers in their day-to-day business. Because if you want to have accurate data, well, you have to have people that are using it accurately as an information. So just asking somebody to scan a part just for scanning a part, doesn't give you any value for that employee, and the chance for you to have a accurate data or less minimal towards that. So our key was to create tools and create aspect that's going to help the workers in their day-to-day, so you as a business manager can have more accurate data as it goes through. And that's how we're thinking about it, and we're really specified for the woodworking industry. So we're not trying to create a tool that's going to be generic for all industries. It's really designed and specified for that woodworking. Just a little aspect to let you know that yes, we have humans in the back, we have a team in the back that is there in the development aspect, in the service team also that is there to help them, and everything that's related to the sales and the integration of being worked with RSA at that level. In fact, our market, why I'm talking about this, well, it's really important to understand, because some people will say, oh, I'm too small shop, I cannot have that kind of product, or I'm too big, it's not going to fit. In fact, it helps small to large company. We have customers that are 4 employees in their shop that does a turnover of 8, not even $1 million of business per year, and they have the system implemented, and it helps them in their day-to-day. What for their main reason to have a gain in quality of life. Main reason because they're all having the same troubles that all the others companies that they have. So we're able to help a small company to help a large company that can do 50 millions of business per year as a turnover over that. And just to show you a little bit of the aspect where the customers actually are based towards that, so it gives you a big roundup that there's a lot of customers using the product and are satisfied with the results of what it can help them towards that. So I won't go through that a little bit because I think you heard a lot about the story about the Industry 4.0, so I don't want to go too much into detail of this because I know there's a lot of people talking about it and most people must be aware, but yes, it's in the direction of the 4.0 industry that we're working on. So today, Production Coach, what it is, as a startup, really important to understand, it's what we call a MES product, Manufacturing Execution System. The key with this is to regroup and connect the engineering product and if a company has an ERP system. But the main aspect is really to see it as being connected with the engineering, the CAD/CAM system. So what's important to understand with Production Coach, what we're going to show you today, is that we don't have no library to create inside. We don't have nothing towards that. We're importing data that are being generated from your CAD/CAM system and integrated directly into the Production Coach system, where you're able to track and share the information everywhere else into your manufacturing, into your plant shop. So we're there really to manage what's happening into the factory, into the plant. And then if a company has the ERP, well, we can sync back information to the ERP that is mostly there for being a business administration aspect that it goes through. So with the startup, really important to understand what we want to show you today is that how things are coming in from a different CAD/CAM system. So this is the compatibility with certain CAD/CAM system that we can show towards our aspects. So first little thing to really understand is how the main page is being shown right here. So once a project has been released from your CAD/CAM system, being Microrealm, being Cabinet Vision, being with CAD/CAM, the information being sent down to the machine. Well, inside the system, you can go in and directly import the data coming out from that system. What you're seeing on the left of the screen is all your work orders aspect, all your details information. On the top screen, it's pretty much what we call all the products, all the items that needs to be shipped. And in the bottom screen is all your loose items that you want to track and get the information towards that. Now, what's important to understand is that we're not just importing data coming out from just the product aspect, but we're also importing all the parts aspect, the material, the dimension, and can be regrouped also with sub-assembly levels that can be shown in all your hardware. As you're seeing right there on the right of the screen, this is what we're displaying, a real 3D drawing towards that. And when you select parts, well, you can see where they're highlighted. And if you have pictures of the part coming out from your CAD/CAM system, well, we're able to see all these information also going through that aspect right there. So really what's important to understand is that we're taking all the information of what's been built inside your job and we're importing directly into Production Coach to be able to display all these information and giving tools to your guys in your factory to see exactly what they need to build and answer their question in their day-to-day business as they're going through with this. Now, what's important to understand also for actual customers, one big thing that we did inside of Production Coach really helped now, it's being able to track and create what we call a new project status working with routing. So now there is an aspect of routing aspect where you can define where the parts are going to go, to what station they're going to go, and have the right amount of components that's going to go through, that's going to be tracked in their elements and towards that. So the project status now adapt itself depending of the project that you're importing in Production Coach. So that means is if you have a station that, if you have a project that you're importing that does not need any finishing, well, you're not going to see the finishing station. But if there's a certain project that you import that needs to have a finishing, you're going to see now the finishing station and the correct amount of parts that needs to go in that workstation to give you the correct result of information. And that will allow a lot of flexibility for the futures and for data information coming out of the system at that level. So if I resume, really important to understand there is that what we're showing is that the import of the project really comes out from your CAD/CAM system. We're importing what we talk about, a work order, products, loose items, and even the hardware if you want to. The edge banding information can be done also in the background of the database, and other type of custom information coming out from your CAD/CAM can be imported. But there's no data to enter in Production Coach. Everything is grabbing to your CAD/CAM system as it goes there. And as you can see, it can be also shown being a simple product, but we can also display a more complex product. Let me just go here just to show a little bit more dive with some curved parts or elements like this. So it doesn't have necessarily to be just straight box that we're showing, but it can be more complex elements that can be shown into the drawing over there. Now, what we want to do is we're going to jump to another workstation. I'm just going to go through to explain a little bit what we're seeing right here, what we call the Smart Label module. So if you're having a nesting machine, a router over there, so what we can display is a screen that allows you to print part labels. So if you have your nesting machine there, we're importing all the optimization done from your CAD/CAM system or from your third-party system, and then we're able to display to you all the nesting that needs to be done on the machine. So what the Smart Labels allows you to do is, yes, to print part labels, a little bit like Alice or Label It that can do, but it does a little bit more towards that. The main key that we wanted is also help the operator at the nesting. So I don't know if you see in the bottom right here, but there's a cart and J, and there's a bin number also being called like number 2 if you want to. So we're telling the operator, as the part are coming out from the nesting, how to group the parts for the next operating system. So we can group the parts by color of edge bending, or group the parts by types of part, like all the bottoms, the tops, the thick shelf together, or all the sides together to regroup in another bin. So we're allowing the operator to know how to group the part when it comes out of that machine without him having to look at every part and knowing where to go. Now, again, if you have an experienced people at that machine, yes, they know all the components and they know how to place them. But when you have newer person or that person is not there, you have to place a new person there. Well, that helps them a lot to be more efficient and reduce error in their job, and helping the other operating station because everything is going to be regrouped and identified correctly for them. The other little things that the system does when you're working with the Smart Label like this, every part that you're seeing turn green will automatically updates the status into the Production Coach system. So they don't have to manually scan the part to say it's complete at the CNC. Just by playing the play mode, automatically we're updating and we're knowing in real time the result of where the job is into the system. If we're printing labels with the Smart Labels, we also identify the orientation of how to place the label. So by being the barcode being placed like this, I'm placing the label at 0 degree. But if it's turned on the 90 degree, I'm telling the operator that he needs to turn the label at 90 degree. So that helps when you're having a picture with the information of the edge banding, how to edge the part for the edge bander, because the label is oriented in that level. The other little thing that's really important also with the Smart Label that we want to allow for the operators, let's say I finish my cutting sheet and there's one of the parts that is damaged. Automatically on the screen, they can select the part that is damaged, specify why it's damaged, and directly on the screen, and automatically that will send back a signal to the office or to another CNC machine for remakes that can be done at that level. So the Smart Label aspect helps you to print out labels that it can identify your parts, can help you to tell the operator how to group the parts for the next operation machine, but also allows to you to have an update on the status what's being completed or not. And finally, if there's a damaged part, the operator can call them directly on the machine for a remake that he needs on that level of things. So that's the kind of tool that we add in and that we're going to continue to add in at different workstations to help people to know what they need to do without just scanning a part. It gives them an advantage to work with this level. So what we want to do now is we're going to go back to our control center. So we went back in the shop where we saw a little bit of tool of the smart label. Now we're going to go back into a vision where we're going to go back into the office aspect. And what I want to show you back is the project screen. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, that's a new screen that's available now in Production Coach that allows you to see the project status that's being adapted to a routing that you can specify. What's interesting also with this screen is that when you go in a station, you can see exactly what has been missing in that station, and you can see the details of all the parts that's been missing and where they're at their last station there. So you can see what you need to pull on to finish your job at that level. So the project screen is really there for a management aspect to help you to see exactly what's the advancement of my project and what is missing at what each workstation. And what's nice about it, well, everything that's in red right here shows you that nothing has been started at that station, but everything in yellow shows you that it's in process right now, and green, well, it's been completed at these workstations. So you're having all your information at once about a work order station for as being a manager to see what's happening in that level of things. With this, there's also what we call the alert center. So inside the alert center, the key with this is to be able to manage what we call damage part or back orders. Okay, so there's two ways to see things in Production Coach. The first way is the back order. For us, a back order is something that you're not going to be able to ship with your job. You're creating a back order. But you can specify what has been what is going to be a back order, so that will inform everybody in the workshop that we knowing that we're having a short ship, something is not going to be delivered to our customers. And then we have the damage part. The damage part is something that you can specify that has to be retake internally, so you're able to remake that part inside of your factory. From there on, you're having a warning center. So the warning center can be divided by filters, so you can see who sees what as being a damaged part or being a back order also being there, or even being another level truckloads what's being completed. Now, with the new version, you have the possibility to make to do returns into a list. So all your damaged part now, you can see them into a list and specify all of the damaged part that you want to make a remake into it automatically without necessarily having to select them one by one. So you can select the list and have a remake automatically. Once a part has been remade, automatically you're going to see also a yellow line that's going to inform everybody that there is a remake element that goes through. And also we added now a chat version. So if you want to write or talk with people into the factory about a job, anytime you can open the chat and write to them. Automatically, what's important to understand is that it can only be used internally with a Production Coach station, so they cannot talk with people outside. It's only being used internally as information to be able to chat and get the information to other person right into your factory. So we're seeing right here a little bit of what we call management tools that helps you towards the aspect to guide more your user as they're going through towards that. Now let's go back into the shop, and one of the main station I want to show you today, it's also what we call the sorting element. A lot of people are using or talking more about the sorting. I'm just going to go back a little bit and resume a little bit about the sorting, what's there and what's really important about it. But what's the most important thing about the sorting is to organize the parts to the next operation station. So what we're seeing here is that we're having a barcode that identify your parts to allow you to have like a serial number on every component. Now, really important, a lot of people ask me, oh, I don't have part labels, can I still do sorting? No, it's really important that you have a part label on every component that you're having with a unique barcode, because the key with sorting is to identify and regroup the parts that comes out from a chaotic way. So all your part comes out, let's say from your doweling or your edge banding, and before the assembly, what we want to do is organize them to simplify the next operation station, let's say being the assembly. So people can go in, scan the part, and the system's going to flash red to tell him in what bin to place the part in. In this case, every bin represents a product. So what we're saying right here is that you're going to place in that bin right here, and that will be all the parts of a product. Once all the parts of that product is ready, well, that bin will turn green to allow them that they can start to assemble. What's important to understand is that you can use sorting not just for case part, but also for other departments in your factory. You can use it for doors, you can use it for drawer box being completed, you can even use it for hardware now. So even there, you could have a barcode printed out for your special hardware and sort them to simplify the assembly guy into his line. So you can also use that kind of technology, just not for case part, but other department in your area. And as I'm going to go by a little bit further, well, you're going to be able to synchronize also this information together. Now, also what's important, as I'm going to show right here with sorting, it can also divide routes. So what's happening, like let's say in this case, the operator goes in, scan a part into his bin, but then scans in a different part that needs to go in a different rack because it has to go to the finishing department. So automatically it shows him a different rack where he has to place his bin. That's going to be, let's say, a mobile cart, and that mobile cart can go directly into the finishing department. That's the kind of stuff that can help them in their day-to-day. Now, also with new technologies coming in, so what we're seeing right here, that's the screen of a sorting rack where you can see all the products that are ready. All the orange shows you that you have damaged part inside of these products. But what also is interesting is when you scan a part, now we also combine with LED lights. So we have now a new future for new technology where you can buy in LED lights, and when you scan, it lights up to show you where to place your part and what bin to place it into that. So what's interesting about that is that the operator doesn't have to have the screen or try to reference which rack where he needs to place it. It's already synchronized with an LED light to really simplify where to place their aspect. And as things are going to go by in the future, our goal is to add more and more tools like this to help the operator being simple, the simplest way to know where to put the parts in. And what you're seeing on the other side of the rack is the green lights to know where to take the products and which one you can start to assemble. So these are little tools that helps the operator and makes it simpler for your people into your factory going through. So sorting, what's really important to understand is that we're organizing parts being placed into a bin for products to be assembled at the other line. And by the way, we have also a lot of people using sorting, not just for before the assembly, but example for finishing. They use a sorting because they want to organize the parts per job or even per color before it goes into the finishing area to be able to help them at that level. Now, sorting is also grouped with what we called synchronization, okay? So what we want to say now is that you're having parts being sorted or different departments in your factories, let's say a door department, a drawer, a cabinet, special items, face frame, could be face frame, etc. that goes through, and then you have your case parts. So the key is to synchronize these departments together to specify there's a go you can start assemble for your assembly line. So what that means is that you can have your door department starting to sort your doors, your drawers, your cabinet parts, but the assembly only gets the go to start to assemble this product only when you have all the parts ready for all the case parts ready and the doors and the drawer of that cabinets are ready. So he gets to go to start assemble. So you don't have pending products waiting to your line that you cannot complete at that level. Just to show you a little example with the routing also aspect is that you can have parts going, let's say, to the paint shop coming out from this CNC, go directly to the sorting door department, and then having other parts are going to go to the sorting cabinet departments and drawer at that level. But all the greens that you're seeing there or sorting areas where it starts to be a control area. So you're having like a controlling area to say, okay, perfect, I have everything ready. You can go to the next level where it becomes an assembly at that level. So you can have bullet points in your factory. You can decide where they are, that you can control these level of things to know I can go to the next step. And just to show you another example right here, like we had a sorting in that area that we're sorting the components of the drawer and we're resorting the drawer once it's been built. So you can have also different type of level like this that it doesn't necessarily you don't have necessarily to do sorting just only before the assembly. It could be at different types of area, but these are the control points as an example right here into the factory that can be done that level. So synchronization, something that really combines with the sorting. So you're sorting your aspect and you can synchronize different departments to tell the triggers that, yes, you can start to work on this element or start to work on other type of elements. And what's really interesting about production coach also, you have to understand, you don't have to do it all once perfect. You can grow it step by step and really change your process as you go through because you have all these flexibility to adapt your station to adapt your status, create new racks if you want to inside the system. So you're not locked down with the decision that you're taking today. And a lot of our customer, every year they sit down and they rechange some stuff in their process to help and grow what didn't go right and adapt new ways of doing this. You don't have to have the perfect scenario at once. You can grow with it and adapt it to your needs as they're going to go through that. Fast, I'm just going to go into the advanced assembly. I just want to specify one little thing that's really interesting. When we talked about the sorting aspect, now you're able to sort your part as they're going through into your rack right here to specify where you want to place them. And you can have another second monitor screen that allows you to see what is ready for the assembly. So what's interesting with the second monitor is that you can have different rules and different colors that you want to show. So let's say right here, I'm showing a green spot to allow the operator to know that he can start working on that product. But I have also a red one that's being shown because I have specified that this product has been a custom product. So I don't want my new guy to work on it. I want to have my custom to work on it. So everything that, even if it's custom, can be worked on into the same sorting rack, but with the color codes of the second monitor, we know which one's going to be worked on your custom screen and which one's going to be worked on your standard assembly lines if you want to. So you can give rules like this, like other person sometimes use ready for finishing. So what that means is that, let's say you have a product that you need to assemble and then send it back to finishing. Well, you can give them a special color that allows them to know that this product's going to go to finishing area right after that. So the second monitor is to control what goes down to the assembly line. And what's interesting about it is that even if I have 3 or 4 or 5 green spots, I can decide how much green light I want to show into the second monitor. So you can specify that they only see 1 green light at a time. They don't see how much product is ready. So you're controlling the lines of what they're going to start to assemble. So they don't decide what they want to work on. You're deciding with the rules, well, I want to make sure to complete job number 1 first and then work on job number 2, or start by always the tall cabinets and then work on a base cabinet, etc. So you can decide your second monitor rules as you want to. So this is a small example right here. So we're having a green light. We're pulling out all the parts that comes out from that second monitor. And then the only thing we need to do is really to scan the part, any part, just one of the product, and automatically will display to you the 3D drawing and some information that can be done towards that as information towards it. Now, also towards the line, what's interesting is that if you have did sorting with other, like the doors, you sort the doors or you sort the drawers, well, you can also scan a part and have a pop-up that appears to allow the operator to know where to grab the right doors and the right jar that he needs to complete that product into his line. So he doesn't have to search into the racks to try to find the right doors or the right jars. Automatically, he having a pop-up to let him know that the jars for that product goes in bin number 1 and in that rack right there, so he doesn't have to search anywhere. So really being able to control what goes into the line, being able to have a display 3D drawing with information of the cabinets or information towards that helps a lot your operator as they're going through. What I'm moving forward now is what we call the instructions. Even though some of you guys are already customers with Production Coach, not everyone is really aware of how instruction can help them in the day-to-day. So I'm trying to explain really much because I think it's something that will help a lot grow with the knowledge. So less you have less experienced person, more can help them in their day-to-day. Because what we want to do with instructions is share special things or share special rules that you have in your shop to allow the operator to know what they need to do. So let's say in a certain case, you're adding a special hardware to your product like a garbage can. Well, now what you're going to need to do is write it down everywhere in your shop floor and wish that the assembly guys see it and put the right garbage can in his product. So with the instruction, what's interesting is that you can create business rules saying when I import a product and if I see that there's a hardware called garbage can in my product that I import from my CAD CAM, automatically a pop-up will appear to the assembly that he has to confirm that he did that task. So you don't have to write it down everywhere in your plans. You only need to have a pop-up that's going to allow them to know that there's something special to do. You can attach pictures, you can attach videos of what you need to do in that type of product. You decide what you want to share to the operator down into the screen. But the key point with this is that it's business rules that you add and automatically creates itself depending of these rules when you import a project. So you don't have to create a library of products. You're creating a library of instructions that adapt itself towards them is elements. So let's say I have an example that I have a new guy, a customer that has a lot of turnover in employees. So with his new person at a working station, he adds in instructions to allow the guy to know just simple steps like blowing air into the holes, because sometimes he forgets. He doesn't know that he needs to do it when he starts. Then if you don't do it, well, it doesn't help the other operator there. So he has instructions that the guy is going to see it in front of him and say, okay, yeah, I have to blow the air over there, and next step towards that. So, and it's been proven for a human that it takes about 3 months for them to be adapted and to know what goes for it to be part of their day-to-day work. So adding instruction help them in their knowledge to know what they need to do with that product as they're going through. What's interesting is that instruction used to be done only for products. Now, instruction can be applied on parts. This is an example of a lot of customers, what they're doing to is that they're adding, let's say, the drill hole information to a comment or whatever into their CAD CAM. So now when the operator scans the part, he can see where he needs to drill his drill cuts on the doors that you want there. So that's a type of information that you can have instructions not just at a product level, but also on the part. So when he scans a part, well, he knows what's the position of his drill holes, know how to drill it, and has his information right there without having a list of all the holes or the hinge position on the side of him. So that's part of information that you can do. Another type of example, really simple. I had a customer that 90% of his jar box is metal. It's with metal sides. So he only has a bottom and a top, bottom and a back to cut on his CNC. But 70% of his issues with his CNC was coming from these backs that were always moving on his CNC machine, a lack of vacuum or kind of stuff towards that. So what we decided is that we're not cutting any more the backs on this CNC. He has long strips of backs waiting on the two of his dryer departments, and only the bottoms are being cut. So the operator goes in, scans the bottom, and he has an instructions to allow him to know what size he needs to cut his back on a little table saw just beside him and be able to assemble it. So he reduces a lot of his moving place on his CNC, and he give all the information directly to the system to his operator, so they have all that type of information. So instructions, you have to see it as pop-ups, message you want to share into the shop, business rules or business aspect you wanted them to see into their shop, and you're making sure that this information goes through everywhere into your elements, into your factory. Now packaging. So, okay, so we're able to have these instructions, these 3D. Now what we want to show you today is how we can create kits or package or wrap up pallets elements that goes through. So we have in the version right now, a new version, a new screen to allow you to create kits with loose items, kits with products, and we're also going to be able to create kits for some of you that only have parts that they don't assemble. You're going to be able to create kits for these elements. What is kits? It's really items that you're regrouping, putting into a pallet, or toe kicks that you're wrapping up together, is to be able to identify it into the system to allow your shipping to know exactly what's going to be inside, to allow you to track what you're going to place into the truck, to allow your installers or people on the field to know what's belonging into that package. So the way it works is that you can go into that screen and create, select what you want to see, products, parts, or detach, and create the numbers of kits that you want to. And inside of that kit, well, you just select the kit number and scan the items that you're placing into that rack, or manually, like we're doing in the video right there, of the items that you want to place into that kit. And you can remove them, add them as information are going through. So once the kits are being created, well, it's going to get approved. Automatically, you can generate a kit label with all the information that's belonging inside of that. Now, what's interesting is directly into that screen, you can now also manage your warehouse, where you want to ship them or where you want to place them into your allocation. And as you're seeing now, you can have different departments of allocation, or different place of staging, that you can specify where you want to place it into your shop. So really with that screen, being able to specify what's going to be a kit, all the loose items that you want to group, or the products that you're placing on, or even only parts that you need to place into a kit that you can create into a pallet after the ship into that element. That's part of things that is going to be helpful and help towards it. Now, technology-wise, also what we want to show there is that some people, for tracking information, can use also technology as being RFID. So what you're seeing right here is what we call an antenna RFID reader. There's a little light on that product right there on the screen. There is a a product label that has a chip in it. So what's happening is when that product is being wrapped, in this case it's being wrapped, and the RFID reads the product, automatically will update the product into the system to say it's being scanned, and you're going to see the green light to specify that the product has been scanned with the RFID at that moment being read. So we're also able to track information using RFID technology if you need to. It can be used for a product level. Some people will use it at the finishing area, at the part level. And as we're going to go through, some people will live it and use it as being shipping level information also. So being able to also, like I was showing just before, being able to specify what is staging area, allocation to your shop to know exactly where things are will help a lot your shipping people to know where the items are into the shop. Now, in the delivery aspect, what's really important is that we have the chance to create what we call truckloads. So really important is that you can combine into a truckload different work orders together that can be specified and tell what you want to group them together for creating a truckload. That will simplify your guys at delivery. So they can specify selecting a regular truck, specify they're adding service call into it, and from there on, they can see exactly the numbers of kit that they need, where everything is staged in the shop. So if you're using these tools before, it helps your guys at the shipping to know where things are identified. And from there on, they can just scan the items that goes into the truck, automatically will add you a timestamp, will also update the status of your project where it goes to. And if, by the way, you're scanning an item that does not belong to that truck, well, automatically you're going to have a red signal to allow you to know that this product does not belong in that truck. So you're avoiding some errors or some undelivered aspect towards your customer at that level of things. So you're controlling these types of things that goes through. And finally, at the end of that, you can have a shipping report that can be printed out where you can give to your guys at deliveries or others and see exactly what's on it. And finally, at the end of this, once you finish your truck, you can click on the button to say that your truck has been completed. Automatically, this will send back a signal towards the warning center to the office to allow them to know that the job is being completed, that you have everything inside, or if you have some back orders, that will also specify what is missing into that truckload. Now, we also have a tool that is being used not just for the factory, but also tools that can help you on site. So we have a web application that people can connect, see their deliveries, load up their deliveries inside of that, see the list of all the working jobs that they can have. With this, we can share the address where they need to go into that. And by the way, you can divide it and tell people to see only what you want them to see. So a specific delivery won't see all the job, will only see the job attached to him. We can share documents also if we want to. Oops, sorry, I clicked a little bit. We can share documents towards Dropbox where they can see their aspect. Now, inside the list, you can see all the lists of all the products, all the items that you're going to have into that list. And what's interesting is inside the production coach, you can see the same 3D drawing. So if you select the part, you can see where it belongs. You can hide the parts also. But what we want mostly with people on site is that if there is a damaged part, they can specify what has been damaged, and that will send back a signal directly to the office to allow you to know that there's been a damaged part with image that you can share to your customers and they can have a result towards that. So what's really important is what we're displaying right here is mostly a tool that not just help what's happening into your factory, but also help people outside of the factory to really finish the loop of all the items that you needed to complete with this. Once you completed the list of the job with all the items that you wanted to, well, they can check them, take pictures of what's been finished or delivered in the room, and then have a sign off with all the information that has been complete or all the information that's missing of that job. And that will send back again a signal to the office to allow you to know the job has been installed or the job has been delivered and what is not good or what's missing in that delivery aspect. So again, we're finalizing the loop of the items of where things are going through into the factory with this. Now, with all of this, we're displaying you tools to help people track and get the information down the shop, but we're also having tools for being a business manager to display what's happening inside of that. So the first aspect is the KPIs. What is the KPIs, key performance indicator, into your shop? So you can place down tools or screens in the factory and have specific goals of what they need to achieve into their day. So what's interesting is that they can see in real time how much items they did or what's the percentage of the goal. But mostly the objective, as you're seeing right here at -3, means that I'm -3 items behind today's goals in my factory. So your goals now can be set up as being products, or can even being set up as being parts now, that you can have your KPIs and you can see in real time how much you're in advance or how much you're behind at the hour we're talking in your shop. So putting screen like this in your factory helps your operator to have a goal, but also help by walking down fast, your production manager or supervisor to know where we're behind and take action to achieve and getting our goals of the day getting achieved with this. So this is really KPIs you can place down everywhere in your shop. Being a management aspect, well, we have a dashboard now, a different dashboard that is a web app, internal web version, where you can see exactly what's your quality, how much part did you break today with your elements, how much job did you ship in full, or there was missing items towards that. What is your bottleneck? So the bottlenecks becomes really important now, since we have the routing aspect, is that you can see how much product is waiting to go to the next station. So if you have too much product waiting to go to the next station, well, the elements becomes yellow to allow you to know that you're having a bottleneck, take action. So you specify the minimum or the maximum of items that you want to be in waiting to go to the next station. And if you're below that number or higher that number, well, automatically you're going to have a color code to let you know, hey, you're having an issue, take an action because you're pending items. You have too much pending items to go to the next working station. What is my numbers of items that I did into the day? And automatically, what's my difference in the last 5 days result in gray in the back? So you can see if you're managing your workflow there. What is my performance by workstation? Am I achieving my goal, and how much I'm behind of my goal by the time we're talking with this element? And what's interesting with that dashboard is that you can create different views. So you can have a first dashboard with these elements that are at product level, and you can create another dashboard where you're only measuring, let's say, your CNC and your finishing department, only the part level. And if you're a business that has different type of product that you delivered, well, you can have a dashboard that's only going to show you for the door stations, and then or another dashboard that's going to only show you for your, I don't know, your drawer, your countertop stations, what we're displaying at these elements right there. So you can really define and add in the numbers of dashboard that you want to see into your factory with the different graphics that's been offered. And what's interesting is in every dashboard, there's also drill down. So when you go in a graphic, you can see the details, let's say, of the numbers of damaged part inside of that, and I can go in and see what is the main reasons and by what station are they being caused, my damaged parts, so you can take action. So in every graphic, you have a drill down aspect to see more details, information of what you want inside of that. So that's a new portion also available with the version 20 now, with dashboard that will allow you to be more simplified with these information. We also have what we call big data. Big data information, really interesting now as a tool that you can go in and ask yourself some question about your database. Okay, so what we wanted to do is that we had customers that say, hey, I wanted to know how much of that product I did last year. Well, what's interesting now is that you can go in your database, specify the product name, specify a specific product, and say, hey, I want to know how much of, I don't know, drawer cabinets I did last year. So you can type in drawer cabinets and specify the last year result, and automatically the system will show you how much product has been done of this with the average time it took to build that kind of product, so you can adjust your costing or whatever information you want to, but you're able to really specify questions to the database and have result, and everything can be exported into Excel, so you can create your own drill downs or other information. So the big data was mostly creating for you to ask specific requests on a job name or on a product reference for you to know these type of information that you want to have to about a base cabinet or whatever information you want to. In the last week, the last month, if you want to compare a week to another week, you can also do that. And if you want to see how much that user did compared to the other user, well, you can have also that type of information that goes through with the big data right there. Now, I did a little bit tour just to show you really much today what's the production coach level for people that are not customers right now, and for others, well, just to show you some new features that are available now with version 20. By the way, if you want access to the version 20 tools, you just need to write down into your Zendesk account, and we'll take we'll take a meeting with you to have it downloaded into your system. That goes through. But the key was to show you new stuff that are available now with version 20 for others, to show a bit more review of what production coach is. But what's really interesting and what's really important to keep in mind is that the way we're doing our development and the way that we still want to work through it is to help the workers into the factory with tools that are helping in their day-to-day work, and then as being a manager to have accurate data that comes in to help you also. So two last little thing I want to show you guys as we're going through is that for people who are actually customers, we have a new portal that's available right now to help you to manage your own keys and to have your own install. So if you don't have access to mywebcap.com, I invite you to write down into your Zendesk support account where you can request to have an access towards that, where you're going to be able to see all your keys, where to install, what's the last connections, and also have access to all the downloads to the system, and that goes through in the help documents also for the install and other stuff that's coming through. So my webcam will become also a big portal of information for you guys to have access as things are going to go by. So I request you to just ask to the support to have an access towards that and manage your key. And you can relocate also your key if you want to install it on a new version coming through. Last little thing I want to talk to you about of what we're working on actually right here to help also the loop with our customer is that we're working into a tracking reference for your customers. So the key is to give them a web portal where your customer are going to be able to see at what level their job is into the factory. So we're going to have a portal in the future that's going to allow them to know at what level, a little bit like UPS or whatever it is, or you're going to decide the stations that you want them to see, and they can track and see their project where it is into your factory and have a history also information. And you're going to be able to give them some actions to do before you arrive into your factory. So that's something that we're working on really to help the experience and help you guys also with communication with the with your factory, but really everything attached towards the production level of that thing. So now, if you guys have some questions, I think it's maybe time to go through. If you have some questions towards that, we can go through, or else that would be it for me today.
Yeah. Hey, Jonathan, I got it. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I do have some. Can you talk a little bit about, I know this is MES and it's got to be compatible with ERP. What technology do you have in this MES product that enables it to long-term be connected to the ERP system?
Well, normally when we talk about the ERP system and the connectivity is that we are using an SQL database, okay? So everything is being installed on your server into a SQL database, and we have created specific tables that are there for communication in between the ERP. So what's happening is with these tables is that the ERP can write information to that tables that allows you to do some actions directly in production coach. As an example, I have customers that updates the status directly from the ERP because they received the materials that they needed. So it becomes an update in production coach to allow them to know that they can start the job. Or I don't know, if there's a back order that they know directly in the ERP, they can write down information directly from production coach to update a back order, or even complete containing information. So their engineering product, they don't have like all the loose items or that kind of stuff, but they are in the ERP, so they can write the information directly into that table. So what's really important is that these two tables that you can write in or that you can read in, that's what's going to be your communication for the future as they're going by. So it's only creating scripts or files translation in between your ERP, and that's going to be the communication. And what's really important is that we don't necessarily do these scripts or we don't do these communication. We have the ability because we have the tools in the background, but there's partners and integrators that we work through that can do that kind of things, that communicate data in between the ERP and our tables. But what we want to avoid is to write down information everywhere in our tables. There's really two tables that are there for communication that's being used. I don't know if that answers your question there.
Yeah, it does. Another question that comes to my mind is, I know production coach is capacity, that you can do capacity planning or scheduling with production coach, but you can do the same with the ERP.
Totally.
What I'm curious about is, with your experience, when there's both the ERP and the MES, where is the scheduling typically done?
Okay. Everything depends on your business rules, and I do have, and what's, it's depending of, does production coach respond to your answer with planning aspect? Because when you're doing scheduling, there's a lot of way of doing scheduling, and the way that we're doing it with production coach is really a back scheduling aspect. So if you're not going into that type of direction, you want to do, let's say, front scheduling or that kind of thing, that resolve the issue of not using production coach aspect. Now, one of our biggest strength mostly is the user interface. So we have a simple user interface that's simplified also for you guys being the woodworking, because it's being based on a Outlook view or Google Calendar view. So it's mostly how you're seeing it and the tool that it's most flexible for your needs and easy to use also. So first, you have to respond to the business rules, if it respects your business rules or not. And second, it's really to see the tools and how you want to play it, and it gives you if it's the type of usement that you want to use in your day-to-day towards that. And we do have some customers that are still using all the logic of the ERP, and there's the ERP sending back the information in the database, and there's just using production coach interface because it's a simple way of doing it. That's possible also. So it's mostly the thing is what responds to your business needs as the planning aspect that goes through. Because we know that with our planning, we're not resolving every person ideas or solutions, but we have typically something that is there that can help you. And we know that our interface, it's easy to use as an aspect to see them. I don't know if that responds also, Roger, or?
That answers my question.
Yeah.
I have one here. What about deployment time, including training? So I guess what the answer to that is, let's just assume that all of the hardware necessary is on site or on premise. From that point, how long will it take to get this up and running and get my people trained on it, get it connected to the engineering system? How long does that take?
Okay, so I'll just start a little bit by the process of things. So the first step when you go forward with the system is that we have what we call a kickoff meeting with the responsible of your project, okay? So the kickoff meeting is really to plan where we're gonna place the station, finalize the functionality and everything, and we'll build up a flow chart with it that's gonna be approved from you. From there on, there's little steps that's gonna be done on the web. So what's gonna be done is that we're gonna install the program, install the SQL, connect with your CAD/CAM system, reduce all these bullet things in front of what we're going to do. So from there, it can be really fast once you get your project plan approved. Then you have your equipment in place, and once we're bringing somebody in place that normally are there for 3 to 5 days, depending on the numbers of station. And the last day that we're there, we're running real life project with you in your factory, helping your operator in your day-to-day. So when we're left, your people are already starting the system because they did it with the guy that was on site to help you. And by the way, on the on-site also, how things are really going over there is that we're going to be with your power user. We're going to configure the system, and we're going to do workflow with him to see, okay, we're taking a project, we're going to see at every station how it goes. If it doesn't go right, we're going to fix it with him, show him how it goes, and do again the project until it's okay. So we do 3 projects like this in different types of area. Once we have these 3 projects running correctly like we wanted to a workflow, we start training your employees. We spend maximum an hour with each employees to show them how they're going to work at their station. So we're not cutting your production. And then when they get trained, we're starting a real project in the factory, turn it around, and our people are there to assist with you guys into the workshop. So normally 3 to 5 days on site, and your people are up running. For sure, there's certain case where there could be more station that could be a little bit longer, but the average is 3 to 5 days on site. Is that good, Roger?
Yeah, that's fine. Another question is, excuse me, I'm sorry, guys. The optimizer, is this compatible with all optimizers for labeling, smart labeling?
Actually, we're pretty much, well, if we're talking about the optimizer for the smart label, we have the ones integrated with Cabinet Vision, with Microvellum, with this other type of CAD/CAM. As a third party, actually, we're pretty much only compatible with Cutright, but if the needed is there to have other optimizer, it can be done.
Okay. And one more.
Yep.
Can you explain the difference between what the advantages and are when you're thinking in terms of fixed racks, which is what you were showing in your slideshow, and also rolling racks. What's the pros and cons?
Yeah, I'm going to go there. And sorry, I'm just going to go back to your last question, Roger, and I'm going to respond to that just on top of my head, just to be sure. With the smart label, when we're talking about optimizing, just to be clear in everyone's head, the smart label is with nesting optimizer, not with saw, just to be clear on that level. And
okay.
yeah, and to respond to your question about the mentality about the rolling carts and the fixed racks, yeah, that's a mentality in the factory, depending if you want to go to that direction or not. But mostly, why some people are moving around for the fixed rack is that because when you're moving with a mobile cart, you're actually moving in what we call silos. So you have to wait that everything is inside of your rack completed to move it to the next working station. So if I'm at the edge band, I have to wait that everything is complete in my mobile cart. So normally your work order. And then when you have everything there, you have to move the rack to the next working station. Moving with a fixed rack, let's say before the assembly, is that you're taking apart. So I have companies that combine, by the way, just before the sorting rack, they combine the edge bander and the doweling machine near the rack. And once the part is complete for them, they don't place it back to a cart to move that cart to the doweling. They just, okay, I don't have to go to the edge bander. I just scan it, place it into the rack. And if they have to go to the doweling machine, well, they have a little conveyor transit that they just place the part there, and the guy at the doweling does his doweling. When he finished, place it in the rack. So we're not moving parts on different area where they don't have to go. When they complete it, it goes into the rack. And once you have a product ready, well, the assembly already has a signal to start working on it. So you don't have to move it in silo and waiting that everything is complete before it goes to the workstation. Once you complete your item, you place it on. And once you have one product ready, well, the operator has it to pull it out to his rack to be starting to assemble it. So it's mostly, it's a direction where it says, you're moving it as it goes through into the workflow, working with the fixed rack. And the other big advantage also on space, maybe it doesn't seem there, but carts take a lot of space into your workshop. So moving with the fixed rack, well, it takes a little bit less space. But the cons of it is that for sure, in any case that you want to place a fixed rack, well, you have no choice. There's probably a good chance that you're going to have to rearrange a little bit your factory to be able to place a fixed rack, because you're going to have to place machine close together and that kind of stuff that goes through. Does that good? Do you have some comments on that also, Roger? Or?
Well, I mean, okay, so what you've seen out there, what's the best, what's the best success story you've got? Is it a fixed rack or is it mobile?
Okay. So honestly, personally, I'm a real fan of the fixed rack and of what I've been seeing in productivity there. Mostly, if your gain is to increase in productivity, I'm going to get you with one story of a customer. So I have one customer that we did when we started with the project. He was doing about 80 cabinets per day, and there were in real mess with the 80 cabinets per day. It was a real mess in the shop, and everybody was running around and no organization. And a lot of issue that goes through. And he was working with mobile carts. So we integrated Production Coach with his mobile cart. So we said, don't place right now your fixed rack. We're going to do it with mobile carts. At that point, he was able to do 85 to 90 products per day in control. So he started to be more in control with this aspect, but not really increase it, but in control quality. 8 months later, we changed a little bit his factory. The way he did it, also, he combined workstation together. Before his fixed rack, he had the doweling machine. He had one guy that was placing the hardware on his sides, and the drilling door machine also. The three of them were all beside each other, and each one was placing his part inside of the rack. And the way it works, just for you to understand a little bit, coming out from the CNC, the parts are already divided in 3 sections. One for every part that needs doweling. The other row was for all the doors, and the other row was for all the sides. So the edge bander received the carts like this, edge band all the sides, and give it to the guy that works on the side, and the other one only on the door, and the other one on the doweling machine. But the key with this is that they were able to increase now in their doing productivity of 150 cabinets per day in control. So working with the fixed rack like that, we're able to increase their productivity and get 150 cabinets per day in control in what they wanted to. So, and this, we see it often with people that are working with fixed rack. There is increasing in the productivity of what they want to build there.
Okay. So the bottom line is if you're interested in the bottom line, go fixed rack.
Yeah, yeah, because remember, the company started with 80 cabinets per day, not in control, and they're able to do 150 per day in control. And if they do less, they're unhappy
Yeah.
with it.
Jonathan, we really appreciate your time, energy, wisdom, and most of all, what you're doing for the industry. So keep up the great work. I met you when you were a teenager, so continue to
Yeah,
grow.
that's true. Thanks, Roger.
And so, but to the attendees, we have some questions that are important to us, and we hope that you take the time and really give us some feedback. We're real interested in doing this better and better, and
Mhm.
so we're counting on you guys to give us the feedback. Well, that's all the questions we have. That's everything, Jonathan. Thanks a lot, guys, and appreciate everybody's attendance and focus. Let us know if we can get you some more information. Have a great day.
Thank you.